So when we're talking about the road ahead, leading up to and around 2020, in the last years of the 20th century, there was a storm brewing which would soon break out into all-out war when a young upstart by the name of Sean Fanning launched a service called Napster. And Napster allowed people from all over the world to connect to each other and to share digital music. And this flew into the face of a 40-year established industry. Prior to that, music was produced and its distribution was very tightly controlled and regulated by record labels. Piracy had always been a bit of an issue or a bit of an irritation, but nothing more than that. But now that music could be digitized and easily shared, it became a major problem. And they went to war. They went after the users. They went after Napster itself. And history tells us that they won the battle with Napster, because Napster ceased to exist a few years later. But ultimately, they lost the war. And the music industry was forever changed. When we see the size and the success of iTunes today, we can see that the music industry is completely different to what it was 15 years ago. And when bandwidth speeds improved and got a lot cheaper, a similar revolution began in the movie and TV industries, and we see that ongoing right now. Then we get to digital advertising versus traditional advertising. And this is an issue that every marketer in the world today is grappling with. More and more advertising is going digital, but there seems to be less and less money in digital, so how do we deal with this? Then most events, most activities in life today have the potential of being broadcast on social mediums. As the CEO of a small technology firm in the US discovered last year, he was invited to a dinner. There were 30 people at the dinner, and he naturally assumed it was private. And he was asked a number of questions about some controversial issues in the world of technology. And believing the event to be private, he was very open and candid in his answers. Of course, as most things are today, pretty much everything he was saying was being live tweeted as it happened. So he came to work the next morning to a barrage of media inquiries. And this barrage he was ill-equipped and ill-prepared to deal with. And that's pretty much the world we live in today. And it is both scary and terribly exciting. It's quite scary because everything we've known to be true, all the established truths, our established values and beliefs are shifting and changing. But the technology that is bringing that change also provides the means and the capability for us to have a global audience. It is possible today to build a global business in under 36 months. In 3 years, you can have a global business because of technology, because of social media and the platforms we have today. Now, futurists, people who talk about the future, they try and distill everything that's happening right now and what's just come, and through that divine what we might see in the future. And the sort of things we're going to see in the future are remarkable. You know, there's talk about big data and how this is going to change our lives. Biological computing and everything that will bring. So all of these things that are going to come are characterized by one thing, and that is change. Now, we all understand and have understood that change is very much a part of our lives. We've always heard that. Change is the only constant. But the thing that is leaving us breathless is the rate of change. The television was a major technological advance last century, and it became a global standard over decades. You know, we had 30 years to get used to the idea of TV and to slowly introduce it to the lounge and then the kitchen and then the room. We don't have that sort of time anymore. I mean, South Africa took 40 years to get a TV. So we had time, we could think about it. We don't have that sort of time anymore. Things are released and launched and they become standard almost immediately. Social media is less than a decade old, and yet it's a global standard, and we're still not sure how it works and what we're supposed to do with it. Most of the presentations at this conference have been how to figure that out. And who would have thought just 5 years ago, if you had said, I believe in 5 years, Samsung will be at the top of the technological innovation pile when it comes to mobile devices, and quite likely will topple Apple. No one would have believed it, yet it has happened in that sort of time frame. And there isn't an industry in the world today that is unaffected by this. If you think of an industry, there is massive and radical change going on right now, where the whole thing is shifting. So, when we look at the road ahead and what's to come in the few short years leading up to 2020, your journey begins now. We all start now.